We've got a wonderful special occasion cake to share with you today. Janet's going to help me, and not only are we going to show you how to do the red velvet cake in cake form, but we're also going to do these gorgeous little cupcakes. Fine, let's start.
We are using our velvet cake, and we have 2 eggs, extra large eggs, which we use at room temperature, 3/4 cup of oil, and 60 grams of butter, which we melt, and then we're going to slowly add that and beat it for about 2 minutes. And then we found we've had very good results when we slightly heat the milk. So we've heated this in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and then we're going to add that. Okay, now we're going to do it on high speed.
It's very important to add the oil and the butter really slowly so that you get a nice emulsion forming. Smells fantastic, doesn't it, Janet?
Yep. It's like a lovely berry smell there. Now this is the best part, because this is when the magic happens. If you can see on camera, the color changes. And it's absolutely beautiful, this lovely beetroot berry color. And the smell is so fresh and lovely.
We've added a berry flavor to the cake because it complements the beetroot beautifully.
And you do this folding in movement. And turn the bowl as you go.
It's great. Let's just see if the taste is right, Janet. Lovely. The flavor is dead right.
These are 20 centimeter pans, and we've buttered them really well and put baking paper on the bottom.
We prefer to use baking paper rather than spray and cook. Now, once you've got the cake in, just make sure you level it and perhaps slightly hollow it in the middle. And then, very good way to get rid of your aggression. Take the cake, put a cloth down and drop it like 3 times. It just explodes the little bubbles which are still in the cake. Then it goes into the oven and it bakes for about 25 minutes, perhaps 30 minutes if you live in the Gauteng area where the altitude is very high. The big trick is to not overbake the cake so you still get the moisture. So when it comes out of the oven, it must stand for 10 minutes so that it finishes cooking and settling in the pan before you turn it out. Cream cheese icing can be a real pain. Now let us show you a foolproof, absolutely foolproof way of making cream cheese icing. We cream the butter, then we add the cream cheese, and then we need a little bit of milk just to get it to the right texture. Most important, we need to use this icing mix because the icing has a stabilizer in it which keeps it from doing all the wrong things. Now we can ice the cake. A good idea is to actually work on the same pan or a pan that is the same height. Put the cake upside down on there. Now we divide the icing into thirds. 1/3 of the icing goes in the middle. And just spread it. Then put the rounded side up. Just make sure that they are 100%. Now we use the rest of the icing and just smooth the sides down. Janet's going to put this cake on the pan in the freezer for us quickly. Now, in order to make that glamorous red collar, we need to know exactly what the parameters in that we have to work within. Now, the best is to make a pattern for yourself, and you do this on the wrong side of the paper, and then you turn the paper upside down. Just make sure that the paper is long enough. Make a little mark on your pan, put the mark down, and then roll the pan until your mark comes down again, and then allow for a bit extra. In order to make the caramel, you need the right tools. The small saucepan with a handle and a nice heavy base. And we put it over a reasonably sort of medium-high heat. Add the sugar, 1 cup of sugar. Add the water, bit of lemon juice, and then some red color. The trick here is do not stir. What you do is you only swivel. What we have here is a little jug which we filled with boiling water so that the porcelain won't crack when we put the caramel into there. And here we've got a glass with ice blocks in. Now the ice blocks are going to help us to test when the caramel is right. As soon as it starts to look thicker and darker, then we know we can start testing. Dry the spoon, put it into the caramel, but let's put it in the ice water. Keep it there for 10 counts, and then you can test. This needs to be rock hard when it comes out of the ice. Now we're going to transfer this boiling hot syrup into this little jug, but it's very, very important that you put a metal spoon into that jug so it conducts some of the heat away. It's very important that you just wait for the bubbles to subside before you start. Now try and get as thin a stream as you can, and for the little ones you just go in circles. When this is cooler but still pliable, then we'll work with it. In the meantime, let's just cut that strip out. It's much easier to put this on the cake if you have the paper backing. You must just work with it while the caramel is still pliable. You see the marvel of the baking paper. The next thing to come out the freezer are little chocolate curls.
To make the chocolate curls, we're using white chocolate, which must be at room temperature. And you just go along the side, and that's how we get them. And then once you've done this, put them in the freezer.
Now, we've kept a little bit of the icing, and I'm just going to pipe a big stand-up rose in the middle, and then we've got all Janet's lovely chocolate curls. Don't work with your fingers because the chocolate will start melting and you lose the pretty curls. This is like modern art. Now that is the kind of cake that you will get wow. For the cupcakes, when you ice those, don't cover the entire red part of the cake with the icing. There we are, a lovely special occasion treat. Let's lift out a slice. Now wait for the surprise. You see the red on the inside and the lovely white icing and the collar. Red velvet cake for a very special occasion.